Islamabad. RazaRumi is a Pakistan policy analyst and he joins us now from Syracuse in New York. Good to have you back with us, Raza. This is the first major attack on civilians in Islamabad in a decade. What does this say about the current state of Pakistan's internal security?
Well, I think it's a really alarming situation. Mind you, this comes in the wake of multiple attacks during the last 2 years. In fact, if I count, there have been hundreds of small scale attacks on the Pakistan Afghanistan border and inside the northwestern province of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, killing more than 6,000 people, security forces, policemen, civilians. But as you rightly said, they had not come as far as the federal capital. And this has obviously created a very serious situation for the government, because Islamabad is the seat of power. It's the place where the parliament, the Supreme Court, and a few miles away, the military headquarters are located, which basically means that now Pakistan's position on the threat of terrorism not only has been validated, but the country will have to take further steps to arrest this, expanding network of terror operations within Pakistani mainland. Yes.
The government has accused Afghanistan of harbouring militants and even hinted at possible retaliation. How serious is this escalation, do you think, and what might Pakistan's next move be?
Well, I think Pakistan's defense minister and other members of the government have quite clearly stated that they're going to now get back, at the militants who have found a base in Afghanistan, sanctuaries on Afghanistan soil. This is the Pakistani branch of the Taliban movement known as the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan or TTP. And their hideouts and their locations are known to the Pakistani security forces. Earlier, last month, many such operations were carried out by Pakistan going into the Afghanistan territory. And then, as you know, there were two rounds of negotiations in Doha and Istanbul, which unfortunately did not result in any meaningful agreement. I mean, they extended the ceasefire, but today's attack is a clear-cut violation of that particular understanding that Pakistan and Afghan Taliban had. And now Pakistan's reaction would have to be very, very targeted, focused, and effective to ensure that these militias that form the umbrella called the Pakistan Taliban or the or the TTP, they have to be targeted and crushed because this puts into question not only Pakistan's internal security but also, its international image at a time when Pakistan is trying to attract foreign investment and investors. This is not a good signal.
As we've reported, the Pakistan Taliban has claimed responsibility, as well as accusing Afghanistan. Pakistan says India is also backing militants, claims that both countries have denied. How credible are these accusations, and what's driving this rhetoric from Pakistan's side?
Well, I guess in part, Pakistan's position has been for some time that there are two kinds of violent extremists who have found its sanctuary in Afghanistan. First are the TTP, this branch of Taliban that wants to bring in its kind of Sharia into Pakistani territory and take control of Pakistani territory. So it's like also the question of territorial integrity of the country. And the other are the insurgents or the violent branch of the insurgents in who are struggling or fighting the Pakistani state in Balochistan in the southern province. So both these groups, Pakistan's state has time and again reminded the world that they have connections or at least some support coming in from India, either financial or arms or training. Of course, the details are unknown, and the evidence thus far shared in the public domain, it remains at best sketchy. But In recent days, as you know already, that the Afghan Taliban have forged an alliance with India. Their foreign minister was in New Delhi on a state visit or an official visit, was given a red carpet treatment. Of course, it was more posturing and symbolic, but that has strengthened Pakistan's view or the Pakistani state's view that India may be supporting some of these groups. Of course, I think the best way would be that these two countries talk to each other and sit on a table of dialogue and thrash out these issues instead of hurling accusations, because that has been the case with India as well. Whenever there's a violent attack, a terror attack, it immediately points fingers at Pakistan. Though yesterday's Delhi attack, after that, Indian government has shown some restraint, has not jumped to the conclusion that it was Pakistan sponsored. But I guess it's a matter of time before this default position sets into motion. This is another tragedy in South Asia, where instead of talking to each other and solving issues, these two nation states find an external, a quote unquote, enemy responsible for whatever is going on in their territory. So I guess it is time for Pakistan to actually, and India, to talk about this issue and not let it fester. Because this involves civilians and ordinary people who are dying in such a brutal manner. Not to mention the security forces and unnecessary diversion from very pressing issues of climate change, poverty, environment, and whatnot.
Okay, RazaRumi, we'll have to leave it there. Really good to get your thoughts as always. Thank you.
You're welcome.